Just wanted to show you a pressure washer setup I created. It's going to end up being used, a little bit of a special application to clean my RV with the truck attached, and I got to pull that out in the driveway, and it's a bit far away from here in the garage, but I didn't want to deal with moving hoses and electrical cords and stuff. Done that before, so wanted a wall mount system with a reel. So I'll show you what I came up with here and share some of my experiences. So I ended up going with the Active 2.0. I had actually tried another pressure washer and got some results that I didn't like from it, in terms of especially what it was doing on the inlet low pressure side. But anyways, I'll show you that here in a minute. But anyways, that's the Active 2.0. These are fairly new, get really good reviews, and I really like it. But let me walk you through the whole setup here. So start kind of from the inlet side. So got some basic filtering going on. That also goes to my RV, so I'm splitting it off here with just a valve contraption going into this blue hose, just basic water hose. Coming into the inlet side of the Active 2.0, and I put a gauge here to monitor the inlet pressure. As I noticed on the one that I returned, it seemed to be creating a lot of back pressure, so wanted to monitor that. It could be a nice thing to add to help you, if nothing else, maybe know when your pump is failing, the check valve inside of it is failing. So anyways, I'm going to keep that on there. But here's the Active 2.0. I just mounted it on a aluminum sheet that I had, and I made it kind of a floating shelf with some brackets that I got off Amazon. So just screwed that into the metal or the wall. I kind of made a custom metal strap here to hold it onto the shelf. You definitely want to do something like this, secure it some way. Otherwise it will fall off. It vibrates a little bit, or it's pretty easy to knock off. So anyways, I would definitely do something. I had to do it again. I don't know why I mounted it to the front there. You got the motor head here, so kind of all the weight is to the front. I really should have mounted it coming right through here, but still works just fine. Put some rubber weather stripping underneath it, so that way I could kind of cinch it down, not damage anything, and then just screwed it into the plate. And then put some, I think this is a neoprene pad that I had underneath it, just kind of custom cut it to make sure none of the vibrations would be translated or is kind of isolated. So anyways, coming out of it, I added a extension here to get it over to my hose reel, and that's mainly just so that when I swing out this reel here, you know, I have enough slack in between the two. And so here it is in the position that I will normally be using it in. So this was kind of a key thing, and one of the harder things to figure out what to do was I wanted to be able to get it to swing out so that I can shoot it almost straight out my garage door here. So this is actually like a fan mount, so I'll put a link to this, but it's pretty heavy duty. I think the fan that they normally attach to this is like 50 pounds or something along those lines. So anyways, I can tell you it would support a whole bunch more, but really heavy duty bolts and pretty thick plating here, so definitely will support this. And then I don't know, I may change this later, but of course I want to just be able to pull the hose out, so I just slipped this rod in here so that if I push it forwards or backwards, it stays. So now I can literally just grab the hose here and pull it out towards the door. This reel is just kind of a cheap Amazon reel. It's honestly not the greatest one. It, doesn't really have any like bearings or anything to really make it nice and smooth, but I think it's going to do the job. It was actually for 150 feet of 3/8 inch line. And long story short is I'm using, or I actually need 125 feet, but I went back to 1/4 inch hose. I found that the active and other pressure washers just really don't like long lengths of hose. Nevertheless, the extra volume that you have in a 3/8 inch hose. So what I actually got wound up here is two 50-foot sections of Uberflex hose, and then another 25-foot section of 1/4 inch to give me my 125. So that just gets me all the way out my garage toward the end of my driveway with the RV attached and the truck attached to where I, don't have to move anything around to spray both sides and the fronts of everything. So bit of a different application for me, but again, this hose reel is kind of the key thing here. So having said all of that, I just wanted to show you a little bit about the pressures. So again, the main issue I found is that once you start adding hose length, for one, when it shuts off, I think it's probably water hammer, but you can get some really high pressures depending upon the type of pump or whatnot on the inlet side, the low pressure side. So of course that's not good. Normally don't want much more than 80 psi or so on the inlet side. I'm on a well system here, so we actually have a little bit lower. I'm in the 45 to 55 depending upon the day. But anyways, the previous pressure washer that I was trying, when you would release the spray trigger and the pump would shut off, this gauge here would spike all the way to where it's pegged. So, I mean, it had to have been at least probably 120 PSI. I suspect more like 150 PSI. And I could see this blue hose just kind of jerk, and any faucets or anything you have on the line, that's just really not good for them. So anyways, I'm having a bit better luck here with the active. It does still spike up a little bit. It's normally in the neighborhood of about 70 to 80, so kind of at the maximum. The other issue that I have is that when you release the spray wand, it does not shut off the pump immediately most of the time. So it might run for, I think maybe worst case is a minute, and then it kind of comes to a strange stop. It's almost like a delayed stop. It just keeps pumping and pumping, and then it seems like it might be building pressure, but the pump just kind of slowly stops and sounds a little bit strange in some cases. Other times it shuts off just fine, but it's definitely doesn't really like all this hose or volume attached to it. So that's why I ended up going back to the 1/4 inch hose. I did have all 3/8 thinking that would be better, but kind of shot myself in the foot there. So anyways, 1/4 inch is the way to go if you're going to go with long hose. So anyways, let's do a quick pressure test here just so you can see how this operates, and show you the inlet pressure here. All right, so I got my low pressure water supply turned on, and actually I'm kind of on the higher side today here, almost 60 PSI. I guess it's probably 50, yeah, about 57 PSI. So anyways, we'll go ahead and turn on the Active 2.0. So there you can see the pressure spike there, went a little bit above 80. This is kind of the worst case. I haven't really purged all the air out of the line or anything. You can see it is gonna drop back down to my incoming supply, but I can tell you that is a pressure spike. It's not local. I've moved this gauge back to the other end of the hose, and it still sees the same type of spike there, so it is real. So anyways, so what I want to do now, let's just do kind of the normal test here for pressure and for how many gallons per minute it does. So there's other reviews that do a more thorough job of this. I just wanted to show that with having the 125 feet of hose and also with it being, 1/4-inch hose, that really you still get about the same pressure. There is a little bit more of a drop than I've seen on some others. All right, so we'll go ahead and do the pressure and gallons per minute test here. So I'm using the white 40-degree nozzle on the shorty sprayer. So here we go. All right, so did the spraying for 1 minute here and let it settle. And you can see here, we're about right at 2 gallons. The pressure was right about 800, maybe just a little bit above. So I think some people have seen up to almost 1,000 PSI. The shorter hose, so you do lose a couple hundred PSI on it, but I can tell you it's still really good pressure in my opinion. I guess a couple other random things to mention is I know a lot of the other reviews or info I found when researching all this pressure washing stuff was kind of brand new to me too, but a lot of people really raved, about the short wand, and I do agree for doing cars and stuff, it's probably nice to have, but I've had this system now for just a little bit, but I've also found that I still really like having the long sprayer too. If you're washing parts or something off that are on the ground, it's just nice to get the nozzle down to lower things when it's longer. And then also if you're doing larger vehicles, trucks, RVs, definitely nice to have the long spray wand. So to me, it's worth it to go ahead and also invest in getting proper fittings to have quick connect and a swiveling connection there. That's what these fittings, the top are here. So it makes your life a little bit easier. So let me go ahead and show you when I spray, how much extra time it runs for. All right, so here we go, going to spray. All right, so that time it shut off quickly. Let's try again. So that's what I'm talking there. Sometimes it just doesn't shut off immediately and it kind of varies. Typically it's only maybe 10-15 seconds, sometimes maybe up to a minute that it runs. Another trick that I kind of found with all of this is I was spraying it, and if it keeps on running, a lot of the times if I just quickly bump the sprayer to turn it on and turn it off real quick, that would trigger it to turn off. So I don't know, I think something internally is not triggering, like a pressure switch or something, probably due to the extra volume. It has a hard time sensing when it's running versus when you've stopped. So anyways, I've reached out to Active on that. I don't see it as a problem. When I run this with the 25-foot hose that they normally provide, I believe it's a 25 anyways, it shuts off just just fine. So this is definitely a result of adding so much hose. I guess a couple other random things that I forgot to show earlier. Mounting the reel to this arm. You know, there's not direct mounting holes for it, so I just screwed in 2 big lag bolts to it. It does kind of hang over the edge, so you know, you might need to get a little creative with what you're doing. Also, the bolts that you would normally use to mount this to something are really large size, so I just made me a hole at the top, a hole at the bottom, and put a smaller lag bolt in here. And then again, here's kind of the trick that I'm using so that the swiveling arm no longer swivels. I just happen to have an aluminum rod that sticks in there. I think this is probably a 1/2 inch rod. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it's about a half, maybe a little bit more of a gap there. The electrical, I just left it as is and just ran some mounting or tie points to keep it along the line there, out of the way. All these other hooks that I have here, I'm gonna be using to put other tools on here, so just wanted to take those down so it didn't clutter up this video. All right, one other test I wanted to do here, again, just to see if this 125 feet of hose is maybe gonna be kind of hard on the pump, is to see how much current it is pulling. So we've got a clamp meter set up here, and I got the active 40-degree nozzle there. So anyways, I'll go ahead here now. All right, start spraying and see what it does when it shuts off too. I think it was down around 14 when I was actually spraying, and then when I was kind of struggling to shut off, got up to 17, 18. So again, that's where I would normally maybe try to press the trigger one more quick time to get it to stop, or do what you need to, but it hasn't caused me an issue so far. So anyways, hope this helps someone, and again, I'll put links below, but I really do like this active pressure washer, and the hose reel is working out, and it's great to have it wall mounted above all. Again, you don't have to be dragging around hoses and electrical cords. That just got really, really annoying to me when using something like this. This is what I'm replacing it. The thing wouldn't die on me. It's been really good to me, but this system is just way, way, way better.